Right. Halo Infinite. They've done the presentation. They did it. I expected to be more impassioned or, angry or happy in some way. But actually, this is the perfect example of a game that has a lot of good, a lot that I really, really liked, and a lot that I really didn't like nearly as much. So I'm very on the fence about this. After the first two trailers, I felt great. I was very, solidified. Yes, this is going to be awesome. This is great. This feels very different, and I feel as though I'm more on the fence after this gameplay presentation. Firstly, though, I got quite a bit of hate for my prediction video where I predicted what would happen in this Halo Infinite gameplay, but I was largely kind of right. I mean, I said he would land on either Reach or a Halo ring, and probably on a Halo ring. And he did. He landed on a Halo ring. I said that they would explore a little more, and they did. I said that they would open by exploring the world, and they did. They opened by exploring the world. And I also said that they would show off slower combat, and the combat seems a lot slower in this than 4 or 5. I also said that there will be armor abilities circa or ergo Halo Reach, and there was. He picked up a few things. You pick up armor abilities like you did in Reach. So I was kind of right about a few things, with the exception of sprint. Sprint is tied to the player now and isn't an armor ability, which is how it was in 4 and 5. So I was wrong about that. But yeah, man, I kind of think that maybe I was right quite a bit. But how did I feel about it? Yeah, well, I guess that's where we're gonna have to go with this. I mean, I don't know whose idea it was, and it really bugs me. I do not know whose idea it was to put those fucking pillars in, those big cylindrical things that are completely textureless. They have no texture whatsoever. Bill, do not put any texture on this. If you do, I'll come and burn your house down. No, there's no, and actually, that's one thing that I have really disliked about 343 for a long time now. And it's something that people don't really talk about, with the exception of me, who goes on about it constantly. I don't like 343's textureless panels. They have these panels and they're repeated over and over again. There's popping on my mic, but they're repeated over and over again and layered all over the place, and they're completely textureless. And obviously, I don't like textureless panels. It makes it look bad. It makes it look as though the game was made in Minecraft, and I genuinely got some Minecraft vibes sometimes watching this game, which is a shame because some of the places actually look great. I think the world looks beautiful in some places. I like the idea of going for a really poppy, bright blue sky when you land, and then the sunset kind of pulls over and drowns the entire sky in oranges and stuff like that. I actually felt as though it looked a little more like Halo CE Anniversary than anything else. I feel as though no one's really talking about that, but it really looked like the Halo CE Anniversary in HD 4K, whatever, to me. The way that the grass is, rendered, and the sunset and all of that looked very similar. A couple of other complaints that I have: the Halo ring in the background, I would have blended it in just a little more. It's a little too rigid, and I like seeing that thing off in the distance, and it didn't feel very organic because it didn't feel as though it was seen off in the distance. I'm okay with the assault rifle. A lot of people are complaining that it doesn't have enough texture to it, but that's the thing. I'm okay with not filling everything with grit and Last of Us 2 grit. I love Doom Eternal, and I love clean sci-fi, and I can clearly tell. And by the way, I think that's another thing that I predicted, was that it would be very clean. And I can tell that they've taken tips from Doom Eternal in making the game look a lot more sort of clean and crisp, and I think that's a good move and a very good idea, and I think the aesthetic of that is very good. I love the way that the elites look now, and I like the brutes too, actually. I like the banished, and I like the pods they come down, and all of that, and I think that's great, and I'm actually fine with the assault rifle. To me, it feels like a combination of the Reach and original trilogy assault rifle kind of mixed into one, or I guess Halo 1 and 2 mixed into one. You've got the lack of textures of the original trilogy, and you've got the shape of the Reach one, and I'm absolutely fine with that. However, some weapons do seem a little janky. I don't know, sometimes I see a mod on the PC where they've recreated the campaign and added some weapons, but the weapons never really feel too flowy. They feel a bit jankified, and of course they do because it's a bedroom programmer. But yeah, some of them actually felt like that to me. The BR is in the trailer, the old school BR, and I'm glad the old school BR is back. But man, that scope is way too big. What is that? The weapon looks kind of silly, a little bit ridiculous, kind of like it did in Halo 5 when they brought it back through, and it just didn't really match the engine. So I don't know. I'll see if it. Because sometimes you see that, and it actually, when you go to play the game, it feels a little better. But some of the animations, I'm not too happy with. The sprint animation's awful. And when I see like the clamber and the slide, I just think of Halo 5. So I'm not too happy with that either. But I'm okay with all of these new weapons. You've got this new brute weapon, this new what looks like a Covenant weapon because it's purple, this new kind of new mauler and stuff like that. I'm actually glad that they're breaking new territory with that, because I always felt as though 343 lived in the shadow of Bungie when it came to their games, and they were trying to like recreate what Bungie did but put their own stuff into it. And I'd rather they kind of did their own thing with new weapons. I'm not happy with the shotgun, and I really am not happy. One of my least favorite things about it is the weapon sounds. They said they learned from previous games. These sound like Halo 5 weapons. All of the sounds sound as though they came straight out of Halo 5, and I'm not happy with that. I don't like that at all. I think they should have gone somewhere new with them. I don't know, something like that, or used sounds that sound more sort of similar to the original trilogy. That shotgun just doesn't sound good. It really doesn't. They could have gone with a real burst, but they absolutely didn't. And it sounds, they just sound so like plasticky and so rubbery and ineffective. Like I just don't care. The weapon, the enemies, however, yeah, I'm happy with all of them. There's something weird about the new Jackal shield, but what are you gonna do about that? And the new bad guy. I think that's a graphical issue, a like texturing issue. A lot of people are complaining about the graphics. I think it's here and there. I think there are some design issues that go further than graphical issues, like those dumbass pillars and stuff like that make the game look worse than it actually should. However, one thing you do have to bear in mind is there is actually a shot from the trailer of them using that mauler thing, and it looks completely different. I do think this is an old build, but one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about, and that you do have to bear in mind, is that we don't know how large scale this game is. We know it's going to be open world, which will affect the way the game looks versus a more linear game. And we don't know how big this world is going to be. We don't know how many worlds there are going to be. We don't know how much customization there is. etc, etc, etc. There's so much we don't know that could explain why the graphics maybe aren't up to scratch when it's compared to other things. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to see, and I'm looking forward to a multiplayer reveal. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. Like, the world. I really like the world. I like, and I think. Every time I have an issue and a doubt and a problem with what I'm seeing, like, oh my god, that sound is awful. Oh, look, he's clambering and sprinting. Oh, oh no. But then I see the world and I think, yes, I love that. I love what I'm seeing. And then I see some pillars with no texture on and I get disappointed again. But yeah, so I'm really all over the place with it. I think the best moment for me, and this is the best moment out of all of the 343 campaigns, out of every single day that 343 have had Halo, the best moment that they have ever made was the Chief coming up that elevator and then looking over, and the soundtrack it just pops, and it's just that, and it's absolutely lovely. And that's what I want. I want more moments like that. I want to feel as though I'm immersed in this world. And I do actually feel as though with this demo, they're having to show off gameplay. They do have to show off gameplay. And lots of shooty McShoot shoots. And as a result of that, we're seeing a lot of like shooting and stuff. And I do think that there's going to be a heavier emphasis on exploration than what we've seen in the trailer. I think we're going to see a lot more of what we saw at the start, which is what I want. I want to feel immersed on this Halo ring, and I want there to be more than just grasslands and stuff like that, because I had an issue with Anthem when they just had grasslands and, you know, jungle stuff and stuff like that. I want more interesting worlds than that. And the story, I mean, there's not much story stuff going on. I'm still okay with Brohammer, but I was kind of hoping to see more characters than just those two. And I really hope it isn't a game just, you know, where it's those two fighting through the Covenant and the Banished, but I highly doubt that. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of issues. I'm not 100%. The gameplay looks a little bit janky and jaggedy here and there, but it feels to me as though they've what they're doing is they're just giving you a blanket, a canvas, a foundation of old school, and then just trying new stuff and throwing new stuff, and finally establishing like, oh, this is what we're gonna do as 343. We're not gonna take what Bungie did and just try to wipe our cloth over it. We're actually going to introduce a bunch of new stuff, and I think that's interesting. I really don't like the hit marker and stuff like that, and I actually am not a huge fan of the 343 gameplay style when it comes to stuff like that, but I love the world, and I still think there's a lot of potential for it. I think we need to see more, and I think I need to get my hands on the game, so it's going to be a tough wait. But I'm still excited. Maybe not as hopeful as I was before I saw the gameplay. I thought that maybe they would have completely gone fully nostalgic and, you know, taken some of the advanced mobility stuff out. But they didn't. But yeah, I guess that's it. I've rambled on for a long time. I'm still excited, but I guess there's gonna be more Halo Infinite stuff on here. So I guess I'll see everyone later.